Hello, legends, and welcome to Blunt Force Healing Podcast, episode 244. Today's podcast is titled Off the Cliff, and there are two reasons for that. Let me bring you up to speed with the first meaning. So, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I started seeing a pattern where I was recording podcasts much later than usual. And that was a result of me writing the blog post that is usually the beginning or foundation of every episode a bit late. It was usually around, I would say, 9, 10 o'clock when I started writing the blog post. Obviously, I was publishing it and then recording the audio and then video, obviously, for the podcast. And that meant I was going very close to that midnight hour and also crossed that line of the moment when my body wanted to go to sleep at a proper time and started being a little bit less sleepy. And after the actual episode was uploaded and published, I no longer wanted to go to sleep, and it was easy for me to stay late after midnight up until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, sometimes even to 3 and 4. So you can imagine that affected my well-being, and I was less energetic. I was waking up quite late, and obviously, I didn't want that to continue like that. So I made a commitment to always publish the blog post before 8 p.m. Why? Because the blog post, the write-up, took the most of time to prepare and publish, and was the most consuming elements and also prerequisite for the actual audio or video for the podcast, because of how the integration between WordPress and Spotify for the podcaster works. So I made the commitment, started doing pretty well for a couple of days, I would say probably a week. And after that time, it was going well until the point where I slipped. So one day, and I think it was Friday, it was actually Friday a week ago, I did a post much later than 8 p.m. I don't remember exactly what time it was, and what was the reason. I would need to check the blog post to see. But then obviously I didn't want to do that again, but Saturday and Sunday ended up me doing the same thing. So I had 3 days in a row where I posted late, went back to sleep very late, or actually early in the morning the next day. So I felt crappy and obviously low energy, not feeling well about myself mentally, of course, because I made a commitment and started slipping again. So I decided to get back on track. And Monday, no problem. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, even Thursday, that was quite a stormy day because I was in Dublin. So I was driving all day. Well, driving in the morning, then I had the work in the office, a lot of commitments, very busy day, and then coming back in the evening. I still managed to be back in Donegal town at 10 o'clock, which was pretty early for the usual time that I come back from Dublin, and I already had the blog post written and the podcast episode recorded by this time. So 4 perfect days, and yesterday I did it again, like Britney Spears uh, sang. Oops, I did it again and again today. Today was a little bit, well, both are my fault, but today was a little bit on purpose because um, we went for a short trip with my wife, with Julian, and my mother in law. So I was kind of expecting to be a little bit later, but still thought that I would manage before 8 p.m. But then we went for dinner, and obviously I decided to, on purpose, do it a bit later because I knew that it's just not gonna happen at the right time. So here we are. I published it about, I don't know, 15 minutes ago or 20 minutes ago. But this time I aim to get back on track faster. It's not ideal, but it's an improvement. The next goal is to not slip again on next Friday. And I hope I won't sleep any earlier than that. But yeah, I see the pattern that when the weekend comes in, that kind of clashes with the schedule, and there is that friction that causes me to write later and record later. So need to work on that. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much about it. I just want you to see that nothing is, all flowers and rainbows. And this process of establishing habits and routines is very difficult, especially for people that might be of the same character or similar character that I do. I'm a very reactive person. For most of my life, I was good in reacting to things and managing things that were happening, like incidents. So something that was unexpected, and adjusting, reacting, and doing, mitigations on the way. But I wasn't good in planning and preparing, like some people that have more uh, of a type of character that fits the project manager or somebody that is good in planning, basically. So my journey that I started with this blog 244 days ago was exactly that: to establish one big core habit and routine and try to build more structured approach to life on top of that foundation. So the actual blog or journal works very well. As you can see, I'm 244 posts in and days in, meaning that every day, regardless of what happens around me, I do write the blog post and I record audio and video at the moment. So for 21, I think today is the 22nd day that the audio is released, and probably 17th or 16th day in a row where video is created. So it's now becoming a proper habit, which I'm really glad, because while my face is not the best for that type of thing, I decided that even though that cringe video is created every day, it's a content that makes me you know, probably better every day a little bit. It might be a fraction of a percent every day, but this is how we get better, right? Through practice. And some people have excuses. They don't want to show them their face. They don't want to make mistakes. They think about what other people will say by seeing them and about what they are saying actually. And I'm well beyond that. I used to be that person where I cared too much about what other people say, but not anymore. So here you see my beautiful face and those cringe videos, which hopefully will get less and less cringe in the future. Today, we've made a trip as a whole family and my mother in law to Bundoran for a short walk because she doesn't like walking too much, mainly because, some she's a certain age and you know her abilities are slightly limited, so she doesn't want to force herself too much. But a short walk is cool, and she enjoys the area where we live, the whole Donegal County, and wherever we go, she really likes the views and the fresh air. So she thoroughly enjoys that. It's just that we can't take her on a longer hike or walk. And we went to Bundoran, specifically to Tulan Strand, where I dropped them in the car park so they could start that rogy walk along the cliff towards the Bundoran. And I drove myself to the town, parked the car, bought a couple of coffees in Foam Cafe, and walked the opposite way. So went to the Bundoran beach and then up the rogy walk to meet them. Well, not the halfway because they were already past the halfway. We've met pretty much very close to the beach itself. Sorry. So my mother-in-law and my wife, they sat on the bench and kind of enjoyed the Bundoran beach while I took Julian, because I promised him to go to town and get some sweets. Just kind of, father son quality time. Not really quality because of the sweets, but it was cool anyway. We went there and grabbed some sweets and the coffee for myself. And after a while, the ladies joined us in the car and we drove to the main destination. The weather was great, but we knew that it might be raining, so we wanted to use as much as we can of that window before late afternoon. And we drove to the area that we already know, kind of, because we went there a couple of times. It's in Northern Ireland. They call it Loch Navar Reserve, or the area. It's quite a huge area of woodlands with a lot of lakes, but the Loch Navar is probably the biggest on that surface or in that area. And we went there for a couple of different hikes, but one specific point I was always missing, and I wanted to check this time. And it was perfect that my mother-in-law didn't want to walk too much, so we went to Mago Cliffs viewpoint. There is a spacious car park there, amazing views, lovely panorama where you can see the actual Loch Erne. Pretty much you can see it everywhere because it's so long. I think it's about something around 40 kilometers long, the lower Loch Erne. So it's quite a big lake, well, long lake. It might not be super wide, but it's very long. So you can see it on the left hand side and right hand side, and in front of you, huge body of water, and you're standing on that edge or ridge of the cliff, which is gives you beautiful, stunning uh, views. And after a while, we decided that because Julian didn't want to go for a walk and stay a little bit with Granny, they stayed in the car, and my wife and myself, we decided to go down the trail and try to reach the actual lake. So there is a nice trail down the cliff. It was beautiful. The weather was perfect, like in terms of the temperature. There was a little bit of drizzle boiling up, but it wasn't raining at all at the time when we started walking down. So the scent was fine, and we reached the main road alongside the shore of Loch Erne, and then we crossed the road and went to Mago Jetty, which is basically a small bridge-like uh, thing at the shore. We enjoyed the views of the lake, a little bit of that ambience of the tiny waves hitting the shore, and I took a couple of pictures for my wife, so she has some content to post on her social media. And then we went back, and the way back it's like probably 220 meters elevation gain, so the ascent was a bit tiring, but cool. We like those things. But in the middle of ascent, a slight drizzle started, and then it turned into pouring rain. So we were soaking wet. Well, my wife had a coat, but I really enjoyed that rain because it was kind of spiritual experience to connect with nature. You know, when it's cold and windy and the rain is pouring, it's maybe not a pleasure, but today it was very warm and nice, and that water didn't bother me. It was actually so pleasant to get that rain on me, and I felt lovely. And once we reached the car park, obviously, we drove straight back in to Donegal. We left Julian at home. He stayed to play a little bit PS4, and then myself and the ladies, we took a bit of time and enjoyed the beer and some meal in Old Castle Bar in Donegal town. It was a lovely evening, pretty packed. You know, the tourist season started, so there's a lot of gente, as Spanish people say, a lot of people in town, especially over the weekends, but even during the week, you can see that saturation of the population is getting denser and denser. I guess the summertime is coming, so we might expect many people in town. So yeah, that was our day. It was lovely. I will return probably to those cliffs because I want to go myself and take a little bit more pictures. That, you know, nobody is pressing me with time and other things to do, and I want to visit particular cliff that if you go to the blog, you can see one picture where one cliff that is a little bit higher than the car park is visible, and I want to go there. There's a slight path in there, so it's definitely reachable. But I just want to go there and see it when I'm alone. So we'll see how it goes. It will be probably more in the summertime. But yeah, so today was great. Tomorrow, Julian plays a match in league. They are clashing against Killybegs St. Catharines, which are a strong team, but it's already semi-final, so you would expect it. And we need to wake up early and drive to Killybegs to be around 9:20, 9:30 in the morning, as the match starts at 10. So fingers crossed. I hope the guys will smash it and secure their place in the final, hopefully. If not, it's not a big deal, but it would be nice to see them in the final. So I'll be wrapping up now. Thank you very much for your time spent in here, because it's already 21 minutes. Wow, it's a long episode. It already takes about 1.75 gigs. So it will take a little bit of time to upload it to YouTube and Spotify podcasts. So let me do that now. Stay tuned for tomorrow. I think that the whole family will stay tomorrow in the house. They don't want to do any trip. So it is very likely that tomorrow I'll attempt some power hike, and I'll be live on TikTok, maybe, on the way in and back from the destination that I am not yet sure what it will be. Thanks for coming, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Stay safe.